Welcome to the New Paradigm Podcast. My name is Morten Hake, and this is the place where we'll talk about the stuff that's gonna make you remember who you really are. Let's go. Hey guys, and welcome to a new episode of the New Paradigm Podcast. It has been a while. Thank you for the patience. Today I could be talking a little bit about why it's been a while, and it could tie into our conversation today. So I'll give some cliff notes, just because I am going to go in depth about it in other videos, in my newsletter and stuff. 2-3 years ago, I flew to Thailand, lost my phone, and expected success to continue to come my way automatically and surf that wave. That didn't happen as planned. I got broke and came back to a massive pile of bills. Then my dad got cancer. He was ill for a few months, and then he died. And my girlfriend had an abortion, and it was just a rough time, struggling to make sense and see meaning in life. That's the cliff notes. And then at one point I went completely what some people would call psychotic. I didn't have any grounded, confident understanding of what reality is and what reality is not, if there's such a thing. So I did some stuff. I almost killed myself, kind of by accident. And in that experience, learned to ask for help. And I'm back on track. I hit the ground walking, but now I'm jogging and ready to run. And I'm very, very happy to be here, sharing with you again. And I'm really happy to meet you and getting to know you better. Julian, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We talked a little bit and we've gotten to know each other a little bit, but I didn't know you were coming to Oslo for the Dick and Natasha workshop. So when I saw you, I was like thrilled, and I think we had communicated a little bit right before that or something as well. And when it comes to video, because we're both really interested in creating videos, and so when I saw it, it was a natural like. I think I gave you a hug, or I was really pleased to see you there. It was a good surprise. Welcome to Norway.
Oh, thank you, and the same for me about meeting you, because I've watched your films and I'm excited by what you do. So, there's a word for me called collaboration.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure out. Took me a while for it to work out what collaboration actually is, but no, it's fun. It's fun working with people and allowing them to be creative, and them allowing me to be creative, and then something comes out of that, which is great.
Definitely. I've gotten, like, just from meeting you in the car earlier today, I was so funny because I was going to pick you up. Well, first of all, I woke up late, and then I was like, and then I realized that when you said afternoon, you had probably a different picture from what I thought of afternoon. So I was like, I have plenty of time. And then he was like, then you were like, I have to get back at this and this time. So I was like, I have to stress down and meet him. And then I went down and something happened, and then I jumped in the car to get you, and then there was traffic, and then there was way more traffic, and then the navigation system sent me the wrong directions, and then as we talked about the navigation system, so it was a blessing just having that talk with you in the car, just to get back, just to definitely was caught up in my thinking, and Yeah, I would just call it stress. And even when I'm stressed, I'm like, I'm stressed, but I can handle stress. I'm the stress master, you know. But still, it's like it feels like everything is rushing, and that I have to keep up with the rush. You know what I mean?
I used to. There's a there's an old song by a guy called Billy Ocean. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Something like. Do
Oh,
you remember? It's before your time. You're too young.
I,
But maybe you'll put it on the podcast and you play it a bit. Who knows?
good idea.
But every time I came up against those kind of situations where I would like tough it out, and it would almost become like validating, like, you know, I'm good because I can tough through those
Right,
times,
right.
and so I would do more toughing it out.
Yeah.
But all that happens then is things just generally tend to be tough.
Hmm.
Keep looking for it, keep getting it,
Yeah.
and like coming to Norway, I think I didn't know, I didn't have a clue where I was staying, where the venue was, who would be there. I had no idea what was going to happen this weekend. I
Hmm.
wanted to film, but I had made no prior arrangements with people. In fact, the one person that I made a prior arrangement with, or tried to make a prior arrangement with, it didn't work out.
Hmm.
He emailed me yesterday saying, I'm busy, I can't make it. So, you know, just shows you how good plans are.
Yeah.
But because when you have a plan, then it has to happen that way. It has to happen a certain way.
Right.
And then when it doesn't happen that way, which
It-
invariably it doesn't,
It feels forced.
and difficult and
Yeah.
stressful,
Yeah.
and yet when you go to somewhere, I think, you know, it's like being a little kid. You go, oh, this is Norway, this is nice. You know, at home, if we had this much snow at home, everybody would be stressed and nobody would be going anywhere, and the shops would all be sold out of the bread and milk and stuff. and here it's like, oh, look, there's 2 feet of, there's half a meter of snow.
Right.
Oh, that's
right.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just like an adventure.
Yeah.
So I went from Billy Ocean song, which to me felt like hard labor. You know, life was like hard labor.
Right.
Only another 20 years of my sentence left. You know?
Yeah.
To oh, look, we're going to Norway. It's a great adventure, and I meet, you know, even coming and I got to the talk on Friday night, no problem, and as I was saying to you, my natural sat nav was guiding me in the right direction to the venue.
Right.
The moment I switched Google Maps on, I went in the wrong direction. What was that about?
Same thing happened to me today, and the phone turned off on like 26% battery because of the cold. Still, we're sitting here.
But then I got into the talk, and you know, like people like you and Tess were there, who I've met you on the internet, you know, on
Right.
Facebook, etc. But I've never met you guys for real. So there was like, that's made the weekend right there.
That's
you know?
awesome.
So, and it's just got better. Like, you know, I had no plans to film anybody. Well, I had no arrangements to film anybody, and we just got up and we said, look, if you'd like to, this is what this film's going to be about. It's going to be about how people's lives change for the better because of the change of understanding and how they see, you know, life.
Right.
And you don't have to film if you don't want to. And lots of people came to me and wanted to be filmed, so I've got plenty of footage. And then
That's
on top
awesome.
of that, my one plan to film with somebody today didn't come off, but hey, we ended up filming anyway, so
It's
it all works.
That's awesome. That's okay. Well, there's two things. There's a segue into goal setting, which is something that I'm ruminating about these days, and then I also want to hear how did you? Can you give me like the story of how you stumbled upon this understanding, like, and honestly, I don't even know if I want to call it the 3 principles. This podcast name is the New Paradigm Podcast. You could call it innate thinking or a new paradigm or just understanding your mind, and even, you know, can some people call it being awakened to consciousness. And to be honest, I am curiously discovering and definitely also overthinking this whole spiritual awakening feeling that I have and keep jumping in and out of. And lately I'm feeling both grounded and super confused at the same time. And it's like it's jumping, you can jump from back and forth really fast within just minutes. And I'd be like, whoa, I need to get out of here. I need to, just scroll through Reddit on my phone, or just dabble on YouTube, or just take a walk, or smoke, you know what I mean? Like, just get out. And then, so how did you stumble upon the principles? And then later I definitely want to talk about both that and goal setting. if that's not too much to ask.
No problem. So I was in 2009. My mum got cancer, and I was running a business at that time that was pretty successful. Generated lots of money, but looking back on it, it was Billy Ocean. It was hard labor. It was, the going get tough, the tough get going, the tough make money. And then my mum got cancer, which is a pretty advanced stage of cancer when they diagnosed it. And so I had a question that came to me, which was, so are you going to be with your mum, live life, or make money? And the answer, it was one of those things where you don't even have to answer the question. The answer is already made. Of course I'm going to look after my mum. So I went and looked after my mum, and she died 6-9 months later. But it was a really, I want to say, beautiful time. We had a really close relationship, and obviously you wouldn't want those circumstances if they didn't have to be there. But it was just, I didn't have any thinking about anything else when I was with my mum. It was just we were looking after her and doing what's best and living each day by day. I mean, almost the perfect way of living, if you follow these principles, without having anybody told me what these principles are, or this understanding is. And that's one of the nice things that I love about this now, is that actually we're all operating this way. But like when you get a new phone, and you get a little getting started guide, and it has only a few pages, and it's enough to tell you how to switch it on and make a call and a couple of things, but gets you going. Well, I think a lot of times somebody gave us the wrong instruction manual. Somebody didn't give us this. They gave us a really sophisticated, machine. Yeah, and we just didn't quite figure out how to use it yet. And people give us lots of little advice on how to use it, right? But in actual fact, the best advice you can get, and I think the one that the 3 principles is talking about, it's the factory reset option. Your default settings were right. When you were born, you were perfect in that moment. And all that's happened since then is you've tried to make it better, and is it better? Right. And if you just hit the reset button, then you'll be back to the perfect way to live, which is day by day, which is doing what feels most natural, which is I want to talk a bit about what you were just there are a lot of people out there right now who are worried about the words, the 3 principles, mind, consciousness, and thought. I was for a while. Spirituality, I wouldn't have said
right.
No, but what I like is hanging out in the unknown. Like not having a plan for what I'm going to do to come to Norway, because I'm always surprised in a good way.
Right.
The unknown hands me some opportunities like this that I can enjoy
Yeah.
that I didn't arrange, and I didn't even try and arrange it in advance. I mean, I might have pinged you and said, "Hey, I'm coming to Norway. You going to the event?" But that's about as much as we did.
Yeah.
So the unknown it's always got some great stuff in there, and all you've got to do is be prepared to be open to it, to allow it to, because if you're so busy looking for something in particular to happen, you can be missing all kinds of things.
Right.
I mean, I can remember Jamie Smart once saying, people are throwing money at you from all directions, you're just not looking at
Right.
You're
Right.
Talking about abundance.
Oh yeah.
And not abundance isn't necessarily money. Abundance is having a loving relationship. Abundance is enjoying some peace and harmony with the way you feel your life is going. There's all kinds of riches, and I think that's where my book's about. Life beyond money, because rich is not about money. Rich is something more.
This is very interesting. Very interesting. Because I feel that when I have had that feeling of abundance in my life, that's when I create the best. That's when I have the most clarity. That's when the best ideas come up. That's when I'm communicating best and impacting from my core. But I've also been broke, financially broke in 8 different countries, and it's been struggle some to it has been fun also, to be honest. Like, it's been like tragically comical, if you know what I mean with that, and I had the resources and friends to be able to laugh of the situation. But I can say that my life is way more feels I was about to yeah I'm getting some insights around money right now. That's why I'm stopping. But definitely it's like it's safer. There's something with safety around money. Yeah, that feels I really I was scared away from being broke. I got to the pain point where I will never be broke again. And that feels real to me. Like, suffering is real, you know? Jordan Peterson, he says, one thing that's real is suffering. Suffering matters. Suffering matters more than matter matters. That's what he says. And I'm like, when you feel pain, it's painful. It's not real, you know what I mean? Like, why don't I just wake up to the fact that my pain is just thought, and then abundance starts flowing into my life? I guess that's kind of what has happened on a bigger scale throughout the last 3 years. Still, there's this but in me, you know what I mean? I don't even know what the question is, and we're tracking off, but it's good off tracking.
No, I want to talk a little bit about that. So the number of people that I've done a little bit of coaching in the last, since I've got this understanding, and not because I set out to be a coach, but because certain people, there's an old Jim Rohn saying about however you show up is who you attract. So the right people come at times to show you what's really there. And I kept on getting these people coming who had started living a new life, but were still looking at their new life in the old way.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't make sense to them. It's like, it shouldn't be happening like this. It should be it would used to happen like that.
Mm.
It was like one guy who is incredibly successful in, I think, insurance business, and then he divorced his wife. The business went bankrupt. And I was talking to him, and he's like, "I've lost everything," and then he said, "But I happen to be living with this woman who absolutely loves me."
Mm.
And there, for me, was like the first hint of, oh, okay, so there's something really good going on in your life.
Mm.
So stop looking at all the bad stuff that's happened and start looking at the good stuff that's already arriving for you in your life.
Mm.
And there was another woman that she was really upset because all her friends were, she'd seen this understanding and she enjoyed it. She was enjoying the way it shows life to her. But she's like, all my friends don't seem relevant to me anymore, so they're all leaving me, and because I don't want to spend time with them. And then she was also having she had some problem where she couldn't afford to stay in her flat anymore. And then magically, a lady arrived who she got on with like a house on fire. Like, they were really, really good friends. They liked the same stuff. She invited her to live in her apartment. So again, stuff was already happening, arriving for her, the solutions, the next way of living her life. And she'd just been looking at it as in the old way. So I think it's where if you don't have any preconceived ideas about how the new way is, allow it to come to you. Don't try and make it the old way. Don't try and look at it even the old way. Then you'll naturally flow into it, and you'll enjoy it that much more and quicker too. Took me ages, took me years. I kept on. That's why these people come to me. Yeah, because I kept on looking at it the old way. It's like, how's this going to work? Like, before I'd go, well, if I go to Norway, I need to have booked a hotel. I need to do this and that, and I'll have all this filming pre-arranged and so on and so forth. And just so if I'd have come along like I have done and just kind of been here I was totally allowing that nobody would want to film with me this week. That would be fine. And from that moment, like when you got nothing on it, everything happens.
Right.
When you just do it, just do it anyway.
That feels right, because it's like it's like I build a fortress of safety for the last period, and now it's all about getting out of that comfort zone again, like I did when I was 20. God damn.
But the important thing is that what you built was confinement.
What's
you
that?
You built walls around yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a safe place.
Yeah. I had to.
But at the same,
I felt like I had to.
But at the same time, it becomes a limit. You can't go beyond those walls.
Yeah.
And everything beautiful and lovely and fantastic is waiting outside those walls for you.
Right.
So I think that whole comfort zone thing it's the wrong words, because the comfort zone is actually outside. The prison is inside.
Right.
Do you see?
Yeah. Very true. Wow, that's huge, because if you just that, words have meaning too. Like, even though they don't necessarily capture the essence, that definitely helps to see that what I would used to think as outside the comfort zone, that's where I'm comfortable. It really is. Like, that's where I built my career. It's outside the comfort zone. It's like I'm that guy. It feels right. Yeah.
Well, I was watching your Mexico trip film, the one that you put on YouTube recently, and there's just a sense of, for me, about how you guys are just enjoying. It's like an adventure. The trip is totally an adventure, and you're really enjoying that. And I think that's such a so many people don't have a life like don't experience life like that. So for you to be showing them that is really important. And also, I think for it to be, you just need to, like I said to you earlier, I spent 4 years filming without realizing that filming was what I really loved doing.
Right.
And I think you have a way of inspiring that the world needs, and you're already doing it. You just need to just do more.
Thank you.
Just enjoy it more.
Yeah. 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 It's funny, like, without this turning into a coaching session, I feel like I'm like, I have so many questions, I love talking to you. You represent a community for me that changed my life for the better, and then that's who I blamed, or what I blamed, when my life changed for the worse. And then I blamed everything, I guess, and then myself, and then went the whole circle probably 100 times. But it's good. I just want to say that thank you, and it's good to have you here. But tell me more about, like, how did you find...
So yes, so after my mum died, I mean, I sold out of the business because I needed to look after my mum.
Yeah.
So I had no business. My mum was gone. It was really kind of an empty, not empty, but there was a space left, and I was not sure how to fill it, and what to do next. And I started doing what I would do, like trying to figure it out. What should the next business opportunity be? I wasted loads of money doing that, I tell you. And somewhere shortly after, I thought, like, I just need to get a bit of guidance. I went looking for a coach, and I found Jamie Smart, and he was just in his, like, I'm not a personal development guy. I'm not a personal development guy, and that I didn't do NLP. I didn't do hypnosis. I didn't do any of that.
Okay, because I came from that world.
I watched The Secret and kind of like, oh yeah.
All right.
It wasn't. Whereas some other people would be there going, right, I need to do my visualization techniques
Yeah.
Not me. But I found Jamie Smart, and I joined his group, and he was going through his understanding of getting his understanding of the 3 principles. And the big thing for me was that I think I realized that if there's a thing called your inner compass, right, your direction finder in life, your sat nav, I needed to find it again, because I'd spent many years living in a specific way, moving in a specific direction, and I wanted, and now it didn't, like, it felt like that wasn't the right direction. And within 2 or 3 months of starting that program with Jamie, I'd figured out that I had this guidance system all the time, but I wasn't looking at it because it was pointing in another direction to the one that I was going. So once I'd realised that, it would then became a process. Might be the wrong word, but it became about changing that. So I did literally change everything, and which is an amazing. I mean, I met tell everybody the story, but I met my wife, the wife I have now, my second wife. It was love at first sight, and I hadn't intended to be with another woman, but it just happened to me. I was just like, wow, this is amazing, and I couldn't not be with her, couldn't not consider life without us. And after that, interestingly enough, we are married now, as I mentioned, but we broke up twice because we thought our relationship should be a certain way. Back to, it needs to be a way I know. It needs to be the right way. And when you let love do the work, when you just give yourself some space and give them some space, and let that loving connection be there, everything's perfect. Yeah. So, and that's just one example of one of the changes that happened to me along the way. Like, I changed from being an internet marketer to being a filmmaker as well. And that's so as a internet marketer, it's much more about doing business and using technology, and as a filmmaker, it's much more about being creative.
Yeah.
So and does that, I don't see myself, as you said, representing the community. I don't see myself as a 3 principles practitioner or a coach or a...
Right.
I think somebody showed me, great people showed me how to look at life a little bit differently, because once you've got your getting started guide, the right instruction manual for the right product, it all makes sense. It all starts to make sense, and once it starts to make sense, what I see is a lot of people who want to rewrite the instruction manual, or want to go into much more detail about. It's like when you buy something and you look on YouTube and you find there are 15 review videos of the product, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're all meant well, but they're like, I've tested that lens for that camera and I hated it. Whatever the guy said in the review, it didn't work for me, and so I don't go by. So I do watch some YouTube reviews, but I don't know. I make my own decision. I know what's right for me, and so I don't need to get involved in the 3 principles, because I now know how I work, what's right for me, and I keep following that. And that's as simple. It's so you can just get, like, do I remember Sid Banks saying, he's got something in one of his DVDs where he talks about somebody wanted to write a book about consciousness, and he says that's going to be a very short book.
Right?
Because there isn't much. There isn't much to say.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing, because oh my God, I've been in so many discussions and all the way to hear about consciousness and ways of kind of describing or pointing in that direction, but it's not necessarily, but it's a forceful seeking, a neediness seeking, instead of I guess confirming just what is already there. I don't know. Yeah, it was good. Very, very true.
So and I think that, and Sid Banks knew that. So at a certain point, he just said to people, "No, just the original group that worked with him. He just said to them, we've talked about this enough now. There's no more to say. Just go out there and live your lives."
Yeah. Oh my God, that's refreshing to hear.
And I think that's
important. That's really important. I think people get caught up in, well, I know that I got caught up after having been more confident in understanding my own psyche and more grounded than I had ever been, and I felt comfortable all the time and good, and then got caught up in, it's like endless, just like mirrors on both sides, looking for the answer, and questioning everything, like all, even small trivial truths or facts, like just a dog walking over the street, or just like tiny stuff that I could nothing became real at some point. I started finding counter arguments on my own thoughts, and then jumping back and forth between those arguments until it became a story, and then that story ate me fully. You know, it's crazy. I'm happy that I'm through with it, you know, or you know, just gotta get rid of some, you know, or just wait, you know, and I'll be fine.
With Sid Banks again, in very early Sid Banks, he talks about the isness, and the isness means you don't have to figure out why dogs bark, or why chickens cross the road, or you know, whether why my bank balance is larger or smaller than I want it to be. It just is. That's just what's there.
Right, but we have, like, the intellect is constantly grasping for answers, right? Or that's a struggle. Like, isn't it important that 2 + 2 is 4? Isn't it important that, I mean, would we be able to sit in a couch with technology and sharing this if it wasn't for kind of buying into facts and not principles? Or if you see the distinction I'm trying to make here, like, there are principles that's constant and never ending and always and true, but there's also the highly possibility that you'll have a better life if you actually have money. Do you see where I'm getting at? That's where I'm still struggling there, man. I'm still struggling there. Like, should I run for money for just 10 years just to have the financial backup to create the festival that I want to create on Zanzibar, to promote African culture, to have positive ripples so people will move more and smile more and have more eye contact? Or or should I just go with my creative force and create videos and take my van and my girlfriend and just drive and then hope for the best? So I'm struggling a bit with what's true when it comes to I guess I have my experiences that, for example, money is a good example because it's so tangible. Well, actually, it's not at all.
I was going to say, you go to an ATM and you look at the number on the screen, and then you either feel happy or sad.
That's so true, though. Wow. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Like, and even and what you're pointing towards right now, when you kind of caught me on that, is what they're pointing towards, amongst other things, on our Acapulco event in Mexico. The fact that what really is value, we have to redefine what value is if the monetary system is collapsing, which it will. So that's what's happening. Like, this decentralized technology lets us decide what's value for us. So I guess I answered my own question there, but thanks for listening.
It's always the best way. Answer your own question. But the you can do either route. You could go either way to. In fact, there's no wrong answer. You could create some marketing events and generate money, and that would get you to Zanzibar, or you could just go to Zanzibar and start stuff and be enthusiastic about it, and that would start stuff. Or you could get halfway to Zanzibar and something else happens,
right?
And that will take you somewhere. So there is no wrong. I mean, I know also you could do nothing.
Yeah.
I know somebody who's done nothing for 8 years. They've had this great idea, but they've done nothing.
Right.
Occasionally they'll go and look. You've bought a place.
Yeah.
Occasionally they'll go and look at places to buy. And even that might be right, because maybe it's just not the right time for them in their lives to be doing that thing. But it's nice for them to be able to have it as, some point in the future this might happen. if anything you're doing is like whatever you're doing, if you can enjoy it today, if you can enjoy today, that's the most important thing. If you can you create from a place where you're, you know, closed off, confined, stressed, etc. It's hard to create.
So hard.
Yeah.
It's like trying to, yeah, it's like pouring water in a filled cup. It's so hard. Even if it's just 3 things you need to do, but if those 3 things feel like you're carrying the world, it's so hard. I know that feeling way too good now.
So it starts with just being in a good place now, today, having a bit of fun with somebody that you met off the plane. You know, we don't have any business need to make this whatever this is. There's no goal for it. There's no, you know, we need to have 1,000 views of this by, you know, a week next Wednesday. There's none of that. We're just doing it because we're hanging out in the unknown and having some fun. And that's, I think, you know, we have an interesting conversation too. But I think that if people could just do more of that in the world, then, you know, there would be no people shooting 17 people in a Florida school. There would be no refugees who can't find a place to live in Europe because they're leaving a war-torn country that, you know, the Western world is helping to bomb out of existence. You know, there would be no Britain Brexiting. You know, there would be. We just wouldn't need any of that.
Wouldn't care about that stuff.
So I'm looking forward to, you know, you were talking about how value needs to be, you know, let's redefine rich. Let's you know, rich is about people being together and enjoying each other and living in harmony and enjoying their own lives too. And so often my wife remarks that because she's met some people now with money, and she says the more money you got, the more insecurities you have.
Right.
And you know, she's met people, she's had times when she's had no money, and yet she's been perfectly all right. The universe has kind of caught her and given her what she needed to move forward. And at one point, I don't know when it was, you know, the other difficulty with that the going gets tough, the tough get going, and I'll build this wall and hide in my own little castle, is that you're isolated, you're alone, you feel like I'd felt like the only way this is going to work is if I do it. Nobody else is going to do it for me. But I was missing this whole unknown thing. I was missing all these opportunities that are outside the walls, that are coming to me all the time.
Yeah, that you cannot control, or that you cannot foresee, that you cannot predict. It's like trying to control life, or for example, try to be on that the tough gets to be tough. Let's just put it that way, or just to hustle all day every day just to make more money than everyone else, for example. It's like controlling your environment. Well, or your bank account or whatever. It's like you got to put so much effort into controlling, making sure you get up, making sure you deliver, making sure you don't spend too much, making sure you make good investments, and that, yeah, just the way you said, that you get blinded to see all of the curveballs that's coming your way, so you're not actually able to capitalize on opportunities that is potentially right in front of you, or potentially in your face tomorrow, but you're busy being busy. You're right.
Such a big one.
Yeah.
That's such a huge one for a lot of people who just don't slow down. They don't slow down and see what's really there.
It's so easy to continue though when you're in 5th gear and you struggle and you feel like maybe you have done you've done everything right from gear 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're at fifth gear, and you're like, whoa, am I driving in the wrong direction or the right direction? I don't know, but it's going fast, so I have to keep going, and probably I should probably put it in sixth gear and go even faster. And you're right, you know, every time, and I feel stupid, even just, well, I feel, you know, just comically stupid from just today when driving in traffic and feeling stress and yada yada, and not turning it down. I turned it up. I was like, park, you know, obviously my, you know, then everything went wrong at the same time, instead of just stopping the car. You know, okay, Julian, he doesn't care. He'll wait there for 10 more minutes, and then just take a deep breath and reset and breathe. Go to nature, whatever, you know, makes sense, and then create from there. Then all of a sudden you're gonna see the opportunity that's behind the curtains tomorrow, or you know, very, very interesting. Very interesting, because it ties into, like, lately, I mean, as you can see here, there's like some goals, there's some, like, I'm in hustle mode and I like it, like it's my hobby, but there's a fine line there, you know. There's a fine line between me thinking that I need to have the perfect product, the perfect launch, the perfect message, the perfect people and affiliates, and like everything in order and exactly my way, and then I will decide, and then I will execute. I think I need to have it all figured out before I start doing it. And it's funny, because in editing and video I don't feel that way. In editing and video I just at some point some years ago I just decided to film more than anyone. So I'm filming, I have filmed my camera, I film my GoPro, I film with my DSLR, and I film with my camcorder, and I do it all the time, and I have video of all my friends in all of different kind of scenarios, and myself doing all kinds of crazy shit from throughout the years, and it's effortless. And I'm editing, it's effortless. I don't think about it, it's just fun. And I don't have, even with video and editing, I don't have a very specific goal with it. I've been thinking about some goals here and there, but yeah, it's just fun. So I guess I'm seeing that more clearly. Yeah.
Nice. I stood out to. I've got a real dream to do a big documentary on how people's lives can change for the better, and I set up a Patreon page. I didn't even. I think somebody invited me to join their Patreon page, and I thought, oh, while I'm here, I'll have a look, and I just set one up. And I haven't got many backers at the moment for the film, which should mean that I can't make it. But actually, somehow I managed to get to Norway and managed to interview some people. You know, it's the film is already starting to be made. So, you know, a bit like you just said, I could wait till the launch plan's complete, you know, or I can just, something's drawing to me towards doing it anyway. And it's not the way that I maybe would have thought it would happen, but it's still happening. Yeah, and I can enjoy it. Yeah. Or I can go, no, this is not the way it's meant to happen. I'm either not going to do it, or I'll try and change it, and so on. And I don't do that now. I don't do that. I just go with it and go. You know, I've met interviewed some people this weekend that had the most amazing stories, and it's a privilege. It's a journey for me to be able to, you know, listen to them and understand just to marvel at what we're capable of creating as human beings, what we're capable of doing. It's fantastic, and I you know, I love your work, and so just to be able to see, I like when you said I've been through a dark patch, like you're like, yeah, no, I was like, Morten, you can't be you, surely. You know, you're just like get out there and enjoy life kind of guy. Yeah. So do more of that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's true, and I resonate with it. So thank you. So you okay? Cool, awesome. For anyone watching, go to What's your Patreon?
Yeah, if you, it's just Julian Freeman. It's called the Freeman Project, but it's called it's
Oh.
Patreon. You look up creator Julian Freeman, and you'll be
I like the name a lot.
yeah, the Freeman Project.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and you can probably give me some help with my marketing. Hey,
Yeah. Sure
Let's-
can.
let's
And also, Rudy is also have ambitions to make a documentary.
yeah, he
We've
and I
been like not deciding anything, but like just throwing out some seeds of thought here and there, and
he's still figuring.
yeah,
And we talked, and he wants to. I think he wants to make a different movie to mine. I think he's going to be more scripted and more
okay,
cinematic. He calls it.
okay,
Mine's going to be more real world documentary.
Okay.
You know, real life stories type stuff.
cool.
So, but you know, just like there are now 100 books on in this area,
Yeah,
I'm sure that in 10 years' time there'll be 100 films,
yeah,
and maybe we just did the first couple.
yeah.
Who knows?
So Patreon, Julian
Yeah,
the Freeman
Freeman Project, but
Freeman
but
project.
it's you know, it's going to be a journey for everybody, because as you'll get to see some of these fantastic interviews and stories before the rest of the world does. And also I want to be able to use the film for people to kick off their own, you know, programs and workshops and TEDx talks and whatever else
Right.
it is, you know,
Yeah,
help you know, it to have ripples that go out into the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lovely dream.
that's awesome.
It's already going.
Yeah, that's cool because it's a lot of times well-being comes down to realizing that you're already on the road that you're so desperately trying to achieve or be on, and then you wake up to the fact that you're there. You're like, this is it. Like you're actually creating right now, as we are right now. It's mind-boggling.
Are you listening to those words?
All right. We'll end on a high note, I guess. Thank you for watching, listening. Yeah, I love you.
Thank you.